Shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kodash. I want to give all salutations and also salutations and shalom to the apostles and elders of GMS who rule well as to the Hakim out there spreading this truth like wildfire in all truthfulness and in all sincerity. And shalom to the rest of the hopeful elect out there. I hope this video is edifying to y'all. The Trump administration, the article, Huff Post, the Trump administration is moving to shrink disability benefits for some recipients. Thousands of people on federal disability benefits got an extra few $100s per month thanks to President Joe Biden. And now thanks to President Donald Trump, it looks like that extra cash may go away. The Trump administration has given notice that it plans to resign a change finalized last year allowing more supplemental security income benefits to receive beneficiaries to receive full benefits even if they live with someone who helps them with food or shelter. Supplemental security income, often known as SSI or disability, offers a maximum benefit of just $967 per month, with a third taken away from recipients receiving quote-unquote in-kind support and maintenance, such as help with groceries or rent from a roommate or family member. The Biden administration finalized a rule last year it wouldn't count in-kind support against SSI recipients if other people in the household are receiving federal food benefits. A change in the administration said would grant full benefits to nearly 300,000 SSI recipients and make another 100,000 people newly eligible for the program. The quote-unquote the Trump administration's proposal to change the rule would harm hundreds of thousands of the nation's lowest income people. Quote-unquote Kathleen Romig and Devin O'Connor, policy analysts with the Liberal Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, said in a blog post on Thursday. Romig and O'Connor said the change could present families with quote-unquote heartbreaking dilemmas. Quote-unquote, they could discourage families from offering help to their loved ones for fear of jeopardizing their meager benefits. Quote-unquote, they wrote. Quote-unquote, it could force more people to turn to institutional care because they can no longer afford to live in their community. So basically, Esau Edom, the elites of Esau Edom, which are being used by the Most High Power Yahweh. You know, the elites are using their puppet DJT, Orange New Trump, to cut off the staff of bread from Jerusalem, because let's be honest, a lot of Jakes are on disability. So this is another way besides what he's doing with food stamps, and there's going to be more changes, and the changes they made before to it. And this is how they're cutting off the staff of bread in Jerusalem. You know, while prices are rising due to the tariffs and due to inflation, they've been rising due to inflation, but tariffs have made it worse. You know, y'all, the people, especially our people affected by the curses, will be able to afford less and less and less. And less. Increasingly. It will get harder to buy food and shit like that, and which will increase crime actually, and bring that chaos, and then they're gonna crack down with their executive orders, bringing that order out of chaos, man. Take over your city, man. The feds, the National Guards, the whole A team, Marines, and we send in, martial law, that will be their solution, martial law. And that's why we believe that Trump is that cruel Lord, from Isaiah chapter 19. Romig and O'Connor said that the change. Oh yeah, I read that. We can force more people to turn to institutional care because they can no longer afford to live in the community. And what is this homeless? The EO, the executive order, executive decree that is dealing with the homeless. What is it? Is it saying that basically they're saying that the homeless, they gotta go. Oh shit, they gotta go. I need to pause this, but they gotta go to homeless. Well, they gotta go to fucking. They're treating it like a mental illness problem, or people that can't take care of themselves, drug addiction problem. Where they gotta go? They gonna be institutionalized. They gotta go to these rehab centers, or they gotta go to these mental hospitals, these asylums. Because they're opening the asylums back up with that executive decree. So they're gonna be used in basically a concentration camp, facility, like Settle. And more and more of you Babylonians, especially Jake, are gonna be ending up there. Because of also this, and then you got Trump's war on the homeless, which a lot of Jakes are homeless as well. You got sizable amount of Edomites, but they're just collateral. But the real target is your tribes. But I'm gonna keep reading. The Trump Salakia. Let me get back to our orders. The Social Security Administration, which oversees SSIs as the federal government's welfare program of last resort, did not immediately respond to requests for comment on Thursday. More than 7 million Americans receive SSI benefits, most of them disabled with limited work histories and very poor. The government monitors their bank accounts to dock benefits if they accumulate more than 2,000. The Biden administration's rulemaking is sought to cut back on requirements for reporting in-kind assistance. It's not a surprise that the Trump administration wanted to undo Biden's changes to SSI. Biden blocked some disability cuts set in motion by Trump in his first term, and now Trump in the second term is doing the same in reverse. Congress has ignored SSI, the Social Security Disability Insurance Program, for years, letting program rules seesaw in a policy battle between successive administrations. And you gotta understand this man's mindset, Esau's mindset, Donald J. Trump's mindset, and his mindset is social Darwinism. His mindset is fascism, social Darwinism, eugenicism. If you're disabled, that's part of it. If you're disabled, you ain't worth shit. to them, so they're just gonna try to get rid of you, you know. Or if you're not, it's also eugenicism. It's eugenicism, just like it's a part of it, just like racism, you know, against your tribes is a part of it, because they see themselves as the best, and you tribes is nothing. So they're trying to get rid of you tribes. But Trump, he's a eugenicist, man. And you know, recently he's made many eugenicist comments and shit, and have done many eugenicist, you know, ableist, all that type of action, you know. And and basically, if you're not a rich so-called white man, like, he doesn't give a fuck about you, or that includes small hat, he doesn't give a fuck about you. In fact, he hates you. But because he sees you as a problem or a burden, you know. But you know, these devils, man, they got their mindsets and come down with great wrath, man. And hold on, let me back. Get Isaiah. I'm gonna get that scripture about the staff of bread, because they're cutting off the staff of bread in Jerusalem. Ezekiel 4:16 and 17. Hey, Trump, you know, he's Edomite. Esau's the sword of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and Psalm 17 and 13. And you know, Esau's the wicked. You know, reference to Malachi chapter 1, verse 3 and 4. And hey, the border of wickedness, right? And Esau, he's being used to break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, people before it's a place. Ezekiel 4:16. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight, and will care, my bad. And they shall drink water by measure, and with astonishment, you know. Hey, going to Esau for one of all things, you know, be subject to payments is going to be increased. Verse 17, that they may want bread and water, and be astonied one with another, and consume away for their iniquity. And the curses is just going to increase on our people until 2/3 are destroyed. But you know, basically, hold on. Subject to payments. Subject to payments. OT. Payments. Just look that up. Oh. Khan. Baruch 3 and 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Most High Power Yahweh. We are still yet this day in our captivity, and it's getting worse. And I'm alright, back. So, hey, you know, it's gonna get worse, and Trump, he's that cruel Lord, you know, aka Nero in the reincarnation. Isaiah 19 and 4. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and the fierce king shall rule over them, saith Yahweh of hosts. You know, that cruel Lord Trump, man. Who is, you know, examine it. Hey, if you can see it, it's Nero in the reincarnation. And what happened when Nero was emperor? You had you know, basically a revolt of Judites due to the increasing oppression. And this is going to cause not just Judah, but the northern kingdom, since northern kingdom are also in captivity, to revolt. Shit like this. You had and what did that great revolt, where it worked for a little while. What did that great revolt until the Romans came down? That flood, man, the Edomite Romans. What caused it was, Esau, when you look at it, he was basically provoking the Judites to revolt and shit, And they're doing the same thing with you tribes here in Babylon. Eventually, unrighteous decrees like this is going to lead to a revolt of both Judah, the house of Judah, and the house of Ephraim, the house of Joseph, the house of Israel, the northern kingdom. And also, the recent, racial events, like you had not just what happened in Cincinnati was covered by the mainstream media, and they basically painted it one way, that the aggression was on the side of the so-called black people, when the so-called white couple was being racist and punched, basically slapped that dude in the face, man. And that is what pissed them off. And the incident with Big Balls, that shit was covered by the mainstream media too. I believe that they may have been paid to do all that, but he got involved anyways. Even when you just look at the situation, Big Balls, the DOG head honcho, he got involved in that situation, and that's when got fucked up. But hey, metal not in many matters, but basically, I believe, because Esau does this, that he paid those YNs to do that. But you have an incident what about the incident in Simi Valley, California, man, where these so-called white teenagers beat the fuck out of this so-called black kid, just beat the fuck out of him just out of hatred, and they got off. None of them served time, and one of them is the son of a cop, son of a sheriff, and you see the corruption, and you see the racism and hatred towards our people, and while the so-called black men that were part of that mob, that because they were provoked, they snapped on that so-called white couple, they're serving time. But the so-called white teenagers that beat the fuck out of that so-called black kid, they ain't doing no time. The hypocrisy of Esau. But these incidents will pick up and will lead to race wars. I gotta address that. know, a great revolt, but this time with both Judah and the house of Judah, the house of Israel / aka Ephraim, aka Joseph. Zechariah 9:13. When I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greeks, speaking of these so-called white people, and made thee as the sword of a mighty man. Because really the rulership of these so-called white people, the self-proclaimed so-called white men, began with the Greek-speaking Edomites. So that's why they're being called the sons of Greece here. And made thee as the sword of a mighty man, 2/3 are going to get their pound of flesh, man. And that's also Matthew 24 and 7. For nation shall rise against nation, talking about nations, not countries. Nation shall rise against nation. And the next one, a kingdom against kingdom, actually talking about countries. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. So race wars is biblical prophecy. And it's gonna happen in these last days. You already have kind of that going on between those Ishmaelite, so-called Arab, and Elamite, mainly Pakistani, refugees in Europe and shit. You already got that going on between them. You're gonna have that going on between Esau and Jake here in the States, which is gonna lead to what? Martial law. They're creating that scenario to justify them really coming down with great wrath. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devils come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. Verse 13. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. That woman represents the Israelites. The Israelites as a nation are compared to a woman many times in the scriptures. Really, the Most High Yahweh's woman. Really, the Adam and Eve story, even though it's also literal, Adam and Eve account, also represents, Adam represents Yahushua, and Eve represents Israel, the true Israel. As brothers have brought out. Well, basically, the woman is in Revelation 12:13 is the nation of Israel, the true nation. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. The dragon represents these devils because it represents the Roman Empire. And we are living in the revived Roman Empire. And the ultimate target is the elect. Revelation 12:17, with that Ted Cruz bill, that's going to be used to, that Ted Cruz anti-crime, anti-protest bill, that they got in the works, is going to be used. I believe they're going to pass it or something similar. And it's going to be used to not go after protests, but also you could see it being used going after Hebrew Israelite camps, including GMS. They're gonna set up a scenario, and that's where that 144% truth is being pushed out, and go after go after brothers with the RICO, man. Heads of camps with the RICO. You know, Esau said no. Said no, that move. Revelation 17, 12 and 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of the Most High Power Yahweh, and have the testimony of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. So, you know, hey, these are the times that we're coming into. We're getting closer and closer. You know, and he's also gonna throw, you know, speaking of that bill, right? He's gonna throw your tribes. He's gonna throw your tribes in the prison, man. Revelation 2 and 10. Fear none of these things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, he's already doing that, but he's gonna go after the elect. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you in prison, that ye may be tried. So some of the elect are gonna get locked up. And ye shall have tribulation 10 days, symbolic. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. You know, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. You know, that's talking about that. Be thou faithful unto death. Hey, some brothers are gonna be put to death, man. You know, some brothers are gonna have to die for this thing. They're gonna be the first, basically, the first to be delivered, because the dead in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai are gonna be risen up first, before the elect is still alive. So basically, even if they put you to death, you still win. You're the elect. And you endure unto the end. The elect is going to endure unto the end. Matthew 24 and 13. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. So the elect is going to endure unto the end. You know, ultimately, when Esau mandates that RFID chip, which they're already setting up that play with ICE, doing facial recognition to catch people, to basically deport, you know, so-called deport, round them up, put them in these deportation camps, you know. ICE has announced using facial recognition tech, and they even announced a flaw in it, you know. Shit could get mixed up. So what's next? The chip, you know. If it go like this, if basically this is how they could first roll it out. If you want to enter the United States, you gotta receive a chip, and that is the symbol. That is where your digital ID is gonna be. And if you entered it legally, we'll know, because you'll have a chip, you know, and then it'll trickle on down, putting pressure on the Northern Kingdom to get chipped up. You know, that's what's gonna happen, and eventually the RFID chip, that's how it'll be basically proof that you're a citizen. Because they'll say, well, there's still a lot of migrants around the U.S. and the RFID chip is proof that you're a citizen. You know, because they're gonna go after, they're about to go after you so-called Haitians as well. You so-called Haitian migrants that's here in the States, in Babylon. They're about to go after you as well. And you know, Haitians and Judah, you know, the other tribes of the house of Judah, Judah and Benjamin, don't look much different from each other. So that also puts pressure on you southern tribes. That's gonna put pressure on you southern tribes to receive, the House of Judah, so-called black folks, so-called black Americans, Haitians, and West Indians, respectively, to get, the Arfad Egypt, because they're gonna set it up. If you don't want to be deemed illegal, you're gonna, if you don't want to, ICE to racially profile you and lock you up even though you're a U.S. citizen because you look Haitian or you look like so-called Latino illegal immigrant, quote unquote, then get chipped up. That's gonna put that pressure. Take the mark. Revelation 13:16 down to 18. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or on their foreheads. Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Verse 18, here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, where it is the number of a man. His number is 636. Basically, it's the Arfad Egypt, broken it down. Karagma, breaking down the Karats, breaking down the Karaso, go back to Grafo. 636, that last number. Stigma, goes side, stigma, and that last word there, stigma, going to, going back to the same, root word as stigma, basically describing how they're going to stick it in you. It breaks it down strong. And it's going to be stuck to you, because you won't be, basically, how they got that RFID chip set up, there's going to be information written on it and all that shit. Basically, like, it's stuck inside you, basically. So that's going to be where digital ID is at. And, soon to come. And also, I want to go into another angle of this, Revelation, I'm bringing this out, you're going to see why. Revelation 6 and 8 and 7, and when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, come and see. Verse 8, and I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with beasts of the earth, other forms of death, disease, because sword, hunger, and beasts of the earth are already described. So the other forms, this is just going to be a news update. Another form of death would be by disease. So by pestilence, right? And then you get Jeremiah 15:1 down to 3. Then said Yahweh unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be towards this people. Cast them out of my sight, and let them go forth. Verse 2, and it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Most High Power Yahweh, such as are for death, to death, and such as are for the sword, to the sword, and such as are for the famine, to the famine, and such as are for the captivity, to the captivity. So you have the same sort of language being used. Verse 3, and I will appoint them four kinds, say the Most High Power Yahweh. Over the four kinds, say the Most High Power Yahweh. The sword to slay, and the dogs of terror, and the fowls of heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy. You know, because that's also going to be going on. But you got let me get Habakkuk's connection to Esau. You know, the modern day Chaldeans. Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he's a proud man, neither keep that home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So this is how Esau is, man. And let me get Psalms 17 and 13. Arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. Verse 14. For men which are thy hand, O Yahweh, for men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. Esau, fatness of the earth. They are full of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. And then you got, link it right up to Malachi 1 verse 3, 1 verse 4, for who's the wicked. Malachi 1 verse 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Most High Power Yahweh of hosts. They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh had indignation forever. The border of wickedness, wherever they're at, wickedness is. Wherever they're at, wickedness is. So, basically, because they are the wicked. But, and they're born that way, strange from the womb. I could even get that far and get what I'm about to get. Psalms 58, verse 3, the wicked are estranged from the womb. Estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Verse 4, their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth their ears. Verse 5, which will not hearken to the voice of charmers, charming never so wisely. Verse 6, break their teeth, O Yahweh, O power in the mouth, Most High Power Yahweh in the mouth. Break out the great teeth of the young lions, O Yahweh. Satan is as a roaring lion, Also says that Satan is adversary. There are adversaries. Verse 7, let them melt away as waters, which run continually. When he bendeth his bow to shoot his arrows, let him be as cut in pieces. But anyways, the wicked is Esau, right? And what they're about to do, basically what I'm going to get into, is these damn devils are about to release it looks like they're about to start Plandemic 2.0. And hold on. Basically, my bad. And this is relating to a video that I found posted on Twitter, but I'm about to show y'all. A severe outbreak of mosquito-borne chikungunya virus infects 8,000 in China, prompts mass quarantines. Thousands of people have been infected with a painful mosquito-borne virus in China, prompting a response not seen since the C to the O to the vid, including mass quarantines even though the virus is not spread by humans. The chikungunya virus has rapidly spread to about 8,000 patients in just 4 weeks, mainly mainly across China's Guangdong province. To the south, where the city of Foshan hit the hardest, according to the New York Times. But Hong Kong's first case was confirmed Monday, and an increasingly worrisome situation is stoking fears of a potential endemic. You know what I'm saying. Potential, this. Potential this. Endemic, But there's 3 other letters before endemic, and it starts with a P. Infected residents are being sent to quote-unquote quarantine wards in hospitals where they're being placed in beds covered by mosquito nets. They have to then remain there for a week unless they test negative beforehand. Nearby cities at one point also forced people entering from Foshan to quarantine themselves for 14 days, but have since lifted that order. The drastic measures show how jittery Chinese officials are about the potential for another major health crisis, considering chikungunya is typically not deadly. They gonna do something, they gonna release something, they gonna say it turned deadly, watch. And not spread between humans, but it's transmitted by the bites of infected Aedes mosquitoes. Hey, didn't Esau release Bill Gates, that devil? Didn't he release GMO mosquitoes not too long ago in Florida, Texas, and other places? In a massive effort to curb its further spread, masked Chinese soldiers have been dousing public spaces with insecticide, and authorities have begun releasing elephant mosquitoes, quote unquote, whose larvae devour the smaller virus-carrying mosquitoes. And this is the beginning of this shit, man. Thousands of mosquito-eating fish also have been released into Foshan's public ponds. Officials have urged those showing any symptoms to be tested for the virus, and residents have been ordered to remove stagnant water where the mosquitoes breed from their homes, and threatened with fines up to 1,400 if they refuse to comply, according to the BBC. At least 5 homes have had their electricity cut for not cooperating, the Times reported. Authorities are even using drones to detect potential hotspots of stagnant water. There is no known cure for the virus, just symptoms that could be agonizing and include fever, joint pain, headache, muscle pain, swelling, and rash. Officials in Gaza said 95 patients hospitalized with the virus have been discharged within 7 days, but the infection rate has the region on high alert, with the 3,000 cases reported in the area in just the past week. The swift response by the Chinese government has its citizens online comparing the outbreak to the COVID-19 pandemic, which exploded in 2020 and killed millions of people, supposedly. U.S. officials claim that the that virus was accidentally released from a Chinese laboratory. That's cap. It wasn't an accident. But when you look into it, it wasn't an accident. But China imposed some of the strictest restrictions in the world at that time, including major lockdowns, forced testing, and social distancing rules. In Guangdong, authorities have vowed to take quote-unquote decisive and forceful measures to halt the spread of chikungunya, which is not commonly found as far north as China. Ren Chao, a professor at the University of Hong Kong studying climate change's impact on chikungunya, told the paper that infected mosquitoes, quote unquote, can spread and reproduce in even the smallest pool of water, like a Coke bottle cap, quote unquote. The CDC on Friday issued a level 2 travel notice for those going to China as the disease continues to spread. Level 2, which tells travelers to, quote unquote, practice enhanced precautions, is on a warning scale of 4, with the 4 urging people to avoid all travel to the region. The agency has urged Americans traveling there to get vaccinated for chikungunya. There are 2 vaccines approved, V shots approved for use against it in the U.S. The current surge began in early 2025 with major outbreaks in the same Indian Ocean area. And I'm gonna show you why I say this. It was being released and at the same time as China is doing this. That's why I'm saying that Esau got something in the works. And I'm gonna show you a spread too, the chikungunya. In August 2025, China has launched a small-scale experimental 6G network with China Mobile claiming to have the world's first operational 6G network. This network, while not commercially available, has received record-breaking speeds of 280 Gbps. China's progress in 6G is significant, with a focus on integrating AI and sensing technologies, and is expected to lead to commercialization by 2030, with standards expected around 2025. Hey, and when they rolled out the 5G, guess what? When they was rolling out the 5G, it caused the same symptoms as what they was calling COVID. And it could be something else that they spread, and they say it's the chikungunya spread over here. And Esau is known to do shit like that. And it's coinciding with it. In the middle, when the lockdowns was put in place, what did you have? You had 5G towers and shit that was being set up. People was locked in their homes. Or schools were being shut down and shit like that. This lockdown is gonna be more severe. I believe they coming with that shit again, And this time, in Operation Warp Speed, Trump recently praised it, and this time you have a part 2 of the Operation Warp Speed, because they're gonna say this old vax don't work like that. So new V shot will be available then mandatory. Available, incentivized, and mandatory. This could play into the whole MOTV thing too, because basically it's verification that you got it. This is maybe how they get the even U.S. citizens. The rest of U.S. citizens, they ain't concerned about that immigration. They ain't concerned about that to get the MOTV. There's verification that you also have verification that you got the V shot. And the reason why I'm saying this is the U.S. in panic, meaning the U.S. says right there, the U.S. gonna do something similar. We gotta beat them at this 6G/AI race and shit. And I'm gonna show you why I'm saying this as well. You know. Let me get to go there. It's gonna take a while to get there, but I'm gonna get there. Give me a second. And there was recently an anti-V-shot shooting in, anti-CDC shooting. What the CDC, and there's reports out that it could have been anti-V-shot. And the CDC is known, they're known to be connected to this, pushing the V-shots and shit. This is pre-demonizing, basically pre-demonizing the people that are going to be against it. Let me get it. People that are already against it as terrorists, but let me get hold on. I'll get to it. Where is that? May have passed it up. Let me get do this. Maybe just scroll up, try to find it. Should be in there. Yep. Weird. Huh. That's weird. That's weird. Hold on. This may be where it's at. Maybe I didn't retweet it. Oh, okay, right here.
Telling you right now, if you thought, I know you're probably not ready for this, especially because the last one was so recent, like 4 years ago, but I'm telling you right now, if you thought CV-19 was bad, you were not prepared for what they are about to do. If you think lockdowns aren't coming, you've been drinking way too much tap water. They're about to roll out the next fear campaign.
They could say that chikungunya, they merged with the CVID.
Claim there's a new virus spreading that you need to hide inside your home, this time because of mosquitoes, floods, fires, earthquakes,
Mosquitoes.
natural disasters. But guys, none of it is natural. These events are engineered, manufactured through their 150 patents for weather modification and directed energy weapons. Every flood, every fire, every freak storm is just another step in their land grab, clearing the way for their 15-minute cities where your movement is controlled and your freedom is gone. And the so-called virus symptoms is radiation sickness, caused by the launch of 6G networks in August 2025. Wow, a perfect cover story to pump you with more toxins and microwave you from the inside out. It's all tied to their 2030 agenda. And if you don't wake up now, you're the perfect prisoner and the perfect customer. And I know they're really not gonna like this one, so send it to 2 people that still have their heads so far up the government's ass they refuse to see what's going on. I know you're probably not.
Hey, and I actually reposted that, and no coincidence that chikungunya pandemic started in China August 2025. And in August 2025, China, was brought out, launched a small-scale experiment, has launched a small-scale experimental 6G network. And the U.S. is going to do the same, out of to keep up with China. That's going to be the reason. But I could definitely see them pulling this shit, and then claiming that could go down like this, claiming that they merged with the CVID, and now it's this ultra powerful virus that spreads through mosquitoes, but also people, and then because they, how it went, and then it's the next demic. This time, jump shots are mandatory, and they'll be mandatory, to verify that you got the jump shot, the V shot. You gotta get that MOTV. This could be how they really enforce. This could be how they really enforce the reason why cities also step in line, is extra motivation for them to step in line to enforce Trump's executive decree on the homeless. You can have these people just out there just gathering in places, spreading disease and shit, getting infected and spreading it. So yeah, this could be the reason why these Dem cities fall in line, But anyways, the reason why the right-wing reason for New World Order type shit is national security, law and order. The left-wing reason for New World Order type shit is public health. We want to make sure you're all right. We want to take care of you. That's the left wing. So they're using. It looks like they're about to use a two-pronged approach to make this new world order happen. And but anyways, I hope this live was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kodash. Salutations and shalom to the apostles and elders of GMS who rule well, and to the Akim out there spreading this truth like wildfire in all truthfulness and in all sincerity, and shalom to the rest of the hopeful elect out there. Shalom, stay strong. Hey, I hope this video was edifying. Shalom, stay strong. Abba Ball. Wow. Gosh. Abba Ball. That's Babylon. Abba Adawani. That's these Edomites. Abba Garayim. That's these other nations. Abba Yabyan. That's our enemies. And the Most High Power Yahweh will bring it in time. And the time is coming soon. Shalom, stay strong. Abba Ball. Wa and Yasharallah forever. Shalom.